Hello, it is Social Media Saturday, 2/22/2020. Steve Sipress here, and I'm wearing my official Arizona Diamondbacks ugly red Hawaiian shirt today in honor of today was supposed to be opening day in the Cactus League. Spring training here in the Phoenix, Arizona area for, I don't know, about 16 teams or something, but all got rained out today. Right now, it is beautiful out. There's still some few dark clouds in the sky and a beautiful sunset happening behind me for your enjoyment. But all day long, it was cloudy and rainy nonstop. Opening day got rained out, but I predict there will be some fantastic baseball weather for the next month or so before baseball begins its official season. Anyway, so I was on a live cast type of thing. A friend of mine had a lot of other experts on there, all talking about selling what's known as info marketing, selling information, courses, books, conferences, consulting, coaching, people that get paid for the knowledge that everyone has. But some people are smart enough to realize that what you take for granted, other people will pay you for. So they share their information and they sell. My mom was a school teacher, and so she taught me from very young that I had an obligation when I learned something to teach to someone else. I've always been a teacher, and I learned decades ago that people would happily pay me for my advice, for my teaching and my sharing my experience with them and saving them from mistakes that they would made and helping them get shortcuts to success. And I've been doing that for thousands and thousands of business owners for decades, and not to mention partners and owning a whole bunch of businesses myself over the years. But a lot of times people make the mistake of thinking that you've got to compete on price. And if a competitor is undercutting you on the price, well, how am I going to compete? Or if they have a larger advertising and marketing budget, how am I going to compete? And, you know, there's many ways of competing. So there was a comment on this live stream of these conversations that this friend of mine was having with a lot of his buddies about marketing. And somebody in the comment box, they were all talking about selling their courses and their conferences and their books and their ebooks and all this kind of stuff. And somebody put a comment and said, look, guys, you know, your competition is not each other. It's not other people selling information. So the competition for someone selling a book on dog sitting is not competition. It's not somebody else selling another book on dog sitting. It's YouTube. It's what I call the YouTube effect. That thanks to YouTube in the past decade or so, there is a how-to video on just about anything you can imagine. It's turned me into somewhat of a handy person around the house. Oh, dish, what is it called? The sink disposal, the garbage disposal clogs up. Well, hang on, before I pay $150 to somebody to come out and in 2 minutes do whatever, I go on to YouTube, I watch a 6-minute video, I'm like, let's try this, press this button, go to the breaker box, no, do this, take out a wrench, twist it, boom, the thing's unclogged, it's working, and on, all kinds of things out around the house. That's the YouTube effect. So contractors are competing with it, and people selling information and consulting and knowledge are competing with it, right? Why? How could you sell a book on dog sitting when there's free videos on dog sitting? Well, I'll tell you how. Well, there's many, many, many ways, but I'll share one of the ways. For instance, my beautiful wife, Michelle, likes to buy recipe books, cookbooks, filled with recipes. Well, thanks to the internet, every recipe in the world is out there somewhere online. You can find it all, but come on now. How long would it take for my beautiful wife, Michelle, or anybody to look up 100 different recipes and find them all and look through and decide which is a good one and which is not a good one? And I guess you'd have to test making them all and to figure it out, and then print them all out in full color, oversized, big, beautiful pictures so you can see what you want to make for dinner and what's mouth-watering and what you like, and put it all and bind it all and put it in a book and put it in the kitchen. Because, of course, if you just printed it out on regular paper, it would get wet because you're using it in the kitchen, it would get ruined or whatever. You pay $10, $15, you get the cookbook. You save hours and hours of trial and error You trust the author of the cookbook, the source of the cookbook, that these are all good, tested, award-winning recipes or whatever, and you have a beautiful book, and you can even pass it around and say, would you like this? She's showing me, how would you like this for dinner? What if I made this? What if I made that? You think I'm gonna be surfing through the internet looking at that? So that's one way to compete with free. It doesn't matter that every recipe on earth is out there free. You can still sell a cookbook, and it doesn't matter that there are YouTube videos out there talking about how to do something. You can still sell a course on how to do it and make a lot of money doing it. You can still be a speaker and teach. Even though your signature speech, somebody recorded it and put it online, you can still deliver that speech over and over and get paid $10,000 every time you do in front of the audience. So there are ways to compete with the YouTube effect. Now, here's a way. I learned this from a mentor of mine, Dan Kennedy, about, 15, 20 years ago, way before YouTube even came out. And he was talking in the vein of piracy. He was saying if you're selling your information products, as soon as you put it back then, you put it on cassette tapes or CDs and manuals and you mail them out, somebody can make copies and undercut. You're selling your course for $500. He can make copies of it and sell it for $100. Well, now thanks to the internet, anyone that's posting their videos online or has online courses, anyone can, pay for the course and then take their password and give it to other people or sell it to other people, or just go in and copy all the videos and the PDFs and the whatever, and then go sell it on a pirated website somewhere and sell it for $20 and sell 100 of them instead of the $500 that he paid for the course. He now, quadrupled his money or whatever the math is. So Dan Kennedy's advice was, and there are many, many ways to overcome somebody out, undercutting you on the price or selling or giving away stuff for free. But this is one way, especially when you're in the world of consulting, coaching, what's known as information marketing, right? You're selling your knowledge, your information. And even though there's 100 videos on YouTube giving away the same exact thing for free. I record a video. I do it on Facebook at my Facebook page, facebook.com/smallbizhelp, B-I-Z. I've done this every single day for 2 years and 11 months. In another few weeks, it's going to be 3 straight years of every single day, and yet probably just about any tip that I give here, you can find somebody else talking about the same thing. I didn't make any of this stuff up. I study all the masters going way back in human behavioral psychology and marketing and advertising and anything about small business making money. That's what I live and breathe and study and immerse myself in. So it's not like I'm making this stuff up. I'll give examples, modern examples out of things, but all this is stuff that's been studied for decades and decades and decades. It's well understood, well tested information. So it's got to be out there somewhere else, and I'm putting it on here in videos for free. So how come people still pay me for consulting? They pay me really good money for consulting because I help them make tons and tons of money from it. Same way that there's a cookbook, right? The cookbook has gathered and sorted through all the recipes to give you that recipe for that type of dish that's better than the rest, and this is the one you ought to make. And I can go through the whole, history of the world's knowledge on advertising and marketing that I study to this day nonstop, and I'm still on webinars, probably averaging one a day. I read at least 1 or 2 books a week. I'm reading magazines and periodicals and all kinds of stuff, and that's what my clients pay me for, to sift through all that information and to boil it down to, here's the advice that I think fits that situation. A lot of times my best clients that have been with me for years will just go, oh, Steve, every time I talk to you, you remind me of something I already knew. But thank you, I needed that. And I don't have to go on and teach ad nauseum how to do that. I'm just reminding them, this fits your... And we all need that. I have a coach and consult. We all need someone to help clear our mind from all the stuff and sift through it and get right to the point. So that's one way to do it, is people will pay you for the fact that, just like a librarian in a library is there, even though all the books are there, there's somebody there to ask, hey, where's a book by this? And what's a good, out of all these history books on whatever, which is the best one? And you trust the librarian to say, oh, yeah, people tell me, I've heard 50 people talk about these books, and this is the most popular one that people take out, or I've read those 10, and this is the best one. that trusted advisor can get paid. Here's one more way. Dan Kennedy's advice was to add in a done-for-you component to your purely informational product. So watching a video on YouTube doesn't add any, I still have to do it myself. If I learn how to put the chain back on the bicycle, or fix the garbage disposal, or unclog this, or redo that, or fix this, or whatever I've been doing, but adding in a done for you. So for instance, not only will I explain to you how to put together an ad that will make get 10 times the results and make 10 times the money as the ad you're currently running now, but I will do your ad for you. I will redo your ad. So that is what people really want, and that's how you compete with free. So if everyone else says, I've got, information on how to make an ad work, but I say, not only am I going to give you information on how to make the ad work, but I will take your ad and I will personally redo it so that it works. Well, then you can't just get that from a video or from a book by somebody else, and it doesn't matter if they're giving out all the free advice in the world. When you add in that done for you component, that I have templates of ads that works, or I have a list of 100 different headlines that work in ads, or I will critique your ad, I will do your ad I'm adding that in. Now, people can't pirate it, right? They can't say, I'm going to sell you Steve's video on how to make an ad. Well, yeah, but you're not going to get Steve to redo my ad for me. That's what makes all the money. He's made thousands of ads for thousands of business owners that have brought in tens and hundreds and probably over $1 billion in sales. So I can get his information. I can try it on my own, trial and error, but you're never going to be able to duplicate Steve's, to toot my own horn, just to tell you, it's world-renowned expertise I have in putting together ads for small business owners that kick total butt and transform their business completely, from struggling and almost going out of business to having a second and a third location and winning awards and suddenly not even having to work anymore and being able to sell the business for more money than they ever imagined they would have in their life. And my ads, unfortunately, at sometimes have been so effective, they put companies out of business. They couldn't handle all the orders coming in and all the growth, and they made some mistakes and took on the wrong jobs. And I got stories about my ads just overwhelming companies and putting a lot of stress. And we didn't have the money to get more trucks, and now we're saying no to jobs, and we're this and that, and my employees are leaving, and whatever. Turn it off, Steve. Please stop the advertising. So I've had all kinds of success. If somebody else is just going to teach you how to do it, but I'm also going to do it for you, guess what? I don't care if they're teaching it for free. That adding in that done for you component will overcome what I call the YouTube effect. So keep that in mind, especially if you are sharp enough to understand that what you take for granted, other people will pay you for. And you get into the world of information marketing, which means you don't keep all your knowledge and expertise bottled up inside selfishly to yourself. You share it with others, and they're happy to pay you for it, of course. And that'll do it for Social Media Saturday as the sun sets in the west. Glorious sunset here tonight. I will be back tomorrow just to check in, as always, on Sunday Fun Day. And I'll catch you again back with business building tips on Direct Mail Monday. Thanks for being here live, watching on the replay on LinkedIn or my blog or my podcast, or on Twitter or YouTube or wherever it is all over the internet, or if you're reading this from a transcript, you're listening to the audio, or however it is. Thanks for being here as always. And please post a like, a comment. Please share it with people if you think it's good advice and it helps you. You probably don't want to share it with your competitor down the block, but maybe another business owner in another industry and you feel like sharing it with them. I appreciate that. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you back here again tomorrow. Over and out. Bye-bye.